Good morning, everyone. We're continuing here in the words of Rabbi Yamin Forst in the laws of KASHRUS, and we are defining what is a Kli Seuda, what are the kind of vessels and utensils that are considered to be used for a meal which require tevila. Hakli nikra Kli Seuda rak im noigeya hakli b'meichel atzmai. A utensil or a vessel can only be called Kli Seuda, a vessel for the meal, if it's actually touching the food itself. Aval besis hakli she'eno mechuber lekli eno tzarich tevila, but a support for the vessel that is not connected to the vessel itself does not require any tevila, as he's going to explain. Lefikach, therefore, chatzuva shalei manich mesasir al akira, when you have the grates that are on the oven, and the grates are where you place the pots and the pans on top of them in order to cook, or you have the grates that are inside of the racks that are inside the oven that you put the pans on in order for the pans to be able to sit in the oven and cook. Like we said, or the racks that are in the oven, so you have the grates on top of the stove, you have the racks that are in the oven. Ein tzarich tevila. Those don't require tevila to be immersed in the mikvah, because no food is touching them. The food that you're eating is in the pots, it's in the pan that's resting on top of those grates or racks. Amnam, however, chatzuvu shbud shemanichin alei mesameichel atzmai. However, if you have some kind of racks or a shbud, some kind of a roasting rack that you put the food on top of them, tzrichim tevila, then they require tevila. For example, the racks that you have in your little toaster oven over there, most likely you are actually putting bread or other foods right on top of those racks. And therefore, the food is touching, the food is being cooked on there, it requires tevila. Unlike usually the racks that you have in your oven, the racks in your oven normally just have the pans that are going on top of them, and therefore they would not require tevila. Kamochein, so too. Kli shederech shimushay hu ba'ofen shesamim ba'es ha'oichel rak al yedei sakit nylon or niyar. So too, if you have a kli, a vessel, that the only way that it's used usually is that the food is wrapped in bags and then placed in that vessel. Kagoin, for example, kli shemachzikim ba'es sakiote. You have a vessel that you use for your tea bags, or sukariot, a tufos niyar, or your sugar packs. So they're wrapped up in a bag, and then it's placed inside of this vessel. The food is never actually touching the vessel, therefore when ein tzarich tevila, that vessel, that's just a storage container for things that are bagged already, does not require tevila to go to the mikvah. Aval klisha porsim alav mapa niyar. However, if you have a kli, you have a kind of a vessel that you spread out a cloth or a napkin on the bottom of it. Derech mashal, for example, sal sheporsim alav mapa umanichem balacham. Let's say you have a bread basket made out of a material like metal that you need to toivel, and normally the way that you serve the bread is you spread out a napkin or some kind of a towel or the like, or a mat on the bottom, and you put the bread on top of it. So you see, the food is not touching the metal basket over here. No, nevertheless, ein ze hefsek v'tzarich tevila. It's not called a hefsek. That's not considered to be something that is blocking the food from touching the kli, and therefore it would still require a tevila in that case. V'chein, so too, kisui kli, the cover of the vessel. Im ein derech hakisui goy b'meichel. If the cover, the lid of that vessel, doesn't usually touch the food, in a kisui tzarich tevila, then it doesn't require to go to the mikveh. Unless, of course, it's connected to the kli. If you have a storage container or you have some kind of a pot that the lid is connected to the pot, and even though the lid perhaps doesn't touch the food, but the pot itself does touch the food, and therefore it requires tevila, then you would toivel that along with it as well. However, he writes, Al kain kisu yisir shemevashlim umetaglim by tzarich tevila. If you have a pot and you cook things in that pot, or you fry things in that pot, and the lid on top is on there while it's cooking, you need to bring it to the mikveh. Why? Because the food always shoots up to the top of the lid. While it's cooking, or while you're frying, so the juices fly up and the oils fly up, and therefore the food is actually touching the top of that kli, of that lid, and therefore it will require tevila, immersion in a mikveh. Have a wonderful day.